Right now, we'd like to welcome to the stage Head of Design for all of the FCA at Brands Global, Ralph Gilles. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
It's been a busy week for you.
Yes, yes. My favorite time of the year. I love it, though.
Yeah, we're campaigning to get it done in April.
I know. Let's move the Detroit show. Look at this mess.
We don't know if you guys can see it outside, but it is cold and chilly.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get down right to the nuts and bolts of it. Yeah,
All
I mean, you are responsible for the Chrysler 300. You are responsible for the latest Viper, but you're not. I mean, when it comes to designing, you have the Challenger. Like, how do you evolve a car like that?
Ooh, wow, that's a tough one. I mean, you have to be careful not to be too beholden to your own brands. I mean, you can go into the retro basket. You know, there's a lot of goodness there if you use it carefully. And we have, it's the benefit of a 100-year-old company. You know, we have a lot of DNA to draw from, and we do it strategically, and it seems to work. It kind of beelines right to the soul, and then when you nail it, but you don't want to overuse it. I think Challenger is a good example, but yet the Charger's same platform, very muscular, sexy car. So we can kind of flex a little bit and respect our past.
How do you keep those relevant in styling, from the styling perspective? I mean, those are such historical cars.
I mean, a few cues, you'd be amazed. Like a few cues on a vehicle can do a lot of work. You don't have to overdo it. And I give GM a lot of credit with the new Camaro and the Mustangs as well from Ford.
Yep.
They do a nice job playing with heritage, and even our new Alfa Romeo, has a reminiscent grille, but there really isn't anything that's verbatim from the past. So.
Now, most of your cars are very bold and brash and very stylish lifestyle vehicles.
I wasn't hugged as a child, that's why. Just kidding. Daddy issues, mama issues, you name it.
How do you, with these efficient vehicles coming around, how do you see being able to keep that muscle and that tone to it, but still be able to,
I
make
love the
them
dichotomy of it. Why, even if a car is efficient, doesn't have to look. I mean, our Charger gets 31 miles per gallon with the V6, but yet still has aggression. So it's possible to mix the two. I think cars are like people, though. You want to have a personality. If you don't want a benign, I can't stand the idea of a car or vehicle becoming a commodity. It really has to have a personality. I look at cars as faces and people and personalities, same way.
It always blows me away when people are like, oh yeah, my car, what kind of car do you have? And they're like, I don't even know. I'm like,
you know what it started from? When I was a young teenage boy, the girls used to say, you're a nice guy. And no one hates that more, right? So why should a car be a nice car? So try to make it fun.
Can you style a hybrid muscle car?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the i8 is pretty cool. I think BMW does a nice job. And everyone thinks I'm all about Mopar and Chrysler products, FCA now. But I really pay attention to what's going on. It's amazing what people are doing out there. So.
You have a true appreciation for all cars. Yeah. Now, what does an autonomous car look like to you?
Man, I love the idea of autonomy, and I'm wondering that. When the car finally becomes, a device that gets you to point A to point B, do you even care what it looks like? And there's going to be people with just a box and as much volume as they can get, forget what it looks like. But at the same time, I think you're going to brand these things. They're going to be brands. They're going to represent companies. So yes, they still have to style them. They still have to be unforgettably good looking. But you don't want to, I call it visual pollution. You don't want that on the roads, right? They're going to be bouncing around the cities. They got to look good and they got to embellish the landscape. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them to become a distraction. I mean, because when I definitely think about it, I'm still thinking 20 years in the future, which a lot of cars are looking like that, a lot of the concept cars.
Yeah, I just came from CS and autonomous. I mean, they're talking about it like it's happening tomorrow. It's a while away. I mean, you're going to see hypercruise, which is something most companies will have in the next few years on the freeways, which makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But in terms of full autonomy, where you can summon your car from across the world, like I think Elon was talking about from across the U.S., that's a ways away, let's be honest.
Well, and I don't know about that. And for me, there's something that I love about being in control of my car.
Yes,
I just drove a new Tahoe as a rental car, and it had the lane staying the lane, and I was like, why is my seat vibrating? What is going on here? I don't know if I like this. Stop it. How do I turn this off? What are all these buttons? What do I do? So now, one thing that I really like about all of your cars, which is a really fun little design aspect of it, is you have these little Easter eggs hidden everywhere. Yeah. Does it ever get to the point where you're like, okay, we got to stop it?
Yes, actually. I mean, the Renegade was the Easter egg fest. We have a few on the new Pacifica, and they're cool. They're just at the right places. So we want the customer to kind of explore the car. You buy the car, that first day, and then you live with it for years, right? So as they're kind of, oh wow, look at that, they thought about that. So it's just to give the car a little extra personality, but you don't want to go too crazy with it because it gets old. Right?
Well, I don't know.
We have fun with it though.
What's your favorite Easter egg?
It's no one ever has found it yet, but it's the Dodge Brothers logo in the Viper. If you lift the cup holder while you're cleaning it, you'll see the Dodge Brothers logo. A lot of people don't even know it's there. And then the new Pacifica has a sun and cloud logo where the umbrella holder is. It's a happy face so it's pretty cool.
Because everybody loves a minivan.
Yeah.
Now, how hard is that to design and style?
That was fun. You know, it's one of the crown jewels of the company. So we take a deep breath before we start a project like that. But at the same time, I love kind of like being almost the opposite view, because everyone's like, oh, minivans, the stigma is unbelievable with minivans, right? But yet it's the most functional volume you can buy. So the challenge was, how could we make it? Sexy is overused, but how can we make a minivan appealing and make you take a second look? And I think we've done that now. That once they drive it, they're sold, right? But I think we try to give the thing a good stance. We have a great wheelbase. It looks like a sports car as well as a minivan. So.
Like, how do you get the styling of a minivan to convince somebody to buy that instead of, say, a crossover? Because so many parents are going towards the crossover because it's cooler.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but look at this minivan.
It's kind of what you were saying before, where we tried to give the minivan a face. It has a distinctive look. It looks like a bulldog now, not like a passive vehicle. So it has an attitude, and it looks safe, but it's pretty sexy. I'm pretty proud of it. Kudos to the team.
Well done. All right. Now, what do you see your competitors doing that you want to bring to the styling of the Fiat?
Wow. I think I love the fit and finish. Audi's doing a phenomenal job with how they're folding metal like paper. It's unbelievable how tight they're stamping things like that. I'm the jewelry of the car, the finishing. The interiors is something I'm very passionate about. That's exciting. And on the other hand is the accessibility of connectivity. There's so many options in the modern car now. Is how do you present that to the customer? So I'm paying a lot of attention of how do you layer it without intimidating people. Because people forget, we market to the young people, but we have 7-year-old buyers as well. Right, so we have to kind of make sure the car can be relevant to everyone.
Yeah, I just want to put my key in and start it and drive fast.
You don't want to sit down and get a soliloquy of how to operate the car.
Now, what are all these buttons? And I will admit, I do love the connectivity nowadays that I can just plug it in. I don't have to try and figure out all the Bluetooth options. It's just there, and I feel like I'm connected with my car as much as I am with my phone.
Exactly. It's a friend. It's an extension of yourself, right? So,
right.
Cool.
Well, Ralph, pleasure to have you on stage.
Pleasure to be had.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to let you go do your crazy things because I'm sure you got a million more.
Yeah, I got to go see some cars and play my Instagram.